There's basically 3 families, me and my wife Terry, and then my son and his wife Michelle, and my daughter Jennifer and her husband Rob. So we're together every day. There's not a day. I know sometimes that can be a little stressful, but we've worked through it and it went wonderfully smooth for us. I think it's very special to get to work with your children every day. And we started, Joey came right out, he went to college for 1 year, decided it wasn't for him, and he come to the farm. And then Jennifer married Rob, and I asked him if he'd want to try his hand at farming, you know. And he's grown to love it. You can tell when a person's happy doing what they are doing, and he's truly happy, and I'm very tickled with that point. But it's a family operation, and we all work together, and it's been a real blessing to have the kids there with me every day. We group these cattle. Like this morning, we sold a load of blacks and 1 load of crossbreds. So once we come in here and sort them, once they're the size to sell, we'll sell the Charolais and the Reds and the Smokes together, and then we'll sell a load of the black cattle, or even 2 loads of black cattle. Most of the times it will run 2 loads of the blacks versus 1 load of the crossbreds. But we've figured out that you get a premium with especially the black cattle, and seem like they even like the Charolais and the Reds together better than to have them mixed all on the same load there. So apparently they've got customers that likes that Charolais and Red cross, you know, put all together with all of them being that, you know. In the spring, we'll buy the harder type calf, one that's eating that round bale rack with its mother all winter long, that's hard and ready to grow, put on a great amount of gain per day. That calf, in my point of view, it's hard to pay too much for it. If it's out there and nothing but bones and frame, that calf will gain and offset the big price that you may have to give per pound for it. So that's what we're looking for, especially in the spring. A calf that's not had much grain, a calf that's had a tough winter, and that's really ready to grow. This farm here is 540 acres, and it sits right into the edge of Danville. If you look all around you, you'll see factories in every direction. But we've had this farm for about 8 years. My son-in-law, basically, this is his farm that he takes care of every day. Every day he comes here with these. This farm we will turn around 1,700 during the year here. In the spring we'll put about 1,000. We'll sell the big ones off, then we'll start buying more. And we do chop silage here at this farm. And of the fall we will buy probably another 500, feed them the silage quickly. We don't take them all winter. We sell out. All of our cattle are gone by the 2nd week in January. We don't have any cattle. We take off a month or 2 and give the farm a break, give us a break. And there will be no cattle here this winter. And there's that 2-month time period. You take by the 15th of December, most of them be sold. 90% of them will be gone. We will probably maybe keep 500 head for the first 2 weeks of January, then they're gone. So you got a good 2 months that the farm will have nothing on it. The farm will be fresh when spring comes. It won't be tracked up. It won't be tractor tar ditches all through it and all those things, the bad things that can go wrong with farming. We built this facility with phase 1 money. Like you say, it's nothing fancy. It's mostly made out of wood except the head chute. And then we've got the pens over here. Over here we use this side over here for several different things. This is where we load out. The goosenecks will load down at the far end. This is the pen we also use. The little cattle that's left here, every 30 days we usually come to each farm, separate the big cattle off of the little ones. The little ones are put here in this alley, and we worm them every 30 days with one of the cheap wormers. Just squirt them down the back. It's something quick. We don't have to catch each calf individually. And then they're kicked back out on the farm. Of course, the bigger cattle will be sold usually the next week. We try to take those big cattle off of them and leave them in one field for a week before we sell them, to let them settle back down, get their weight back, and then we take them to market. We let the other ones grow. We usually go to another farm and do the same process at a different farm then. We'll put whatever we're wanting to catch in here. You've got a gate up here that makes a tub that will be opened up, and you'll put you about 10 or 12 calves in there, push the gate around on them. They'll come down the chute. You put these metal bars behind them to hold them to where they can't back out of the chute on you, and then you can catch them individually one at a time then. This thing will hold about 25 head, something like that. And then we use this gate here. I'm always the ones in this pen, and my son-in-law is on this gate here, and we will, it's basically, we call it either a big calf or a little one. And he'll use this gate. He'll use this gate to throw the pen. If I holler a big one, the calf will go under him here. And if it's a little calf, he lets it go on by. So it's just a deal of swinging and pulling the gate. And I'm the one that's over here, basically doing the cutting them out, calling it, whether it's a big one or what I think is a big one or a little one there. But you can see this gate works right here. If this pen was full of cattle, I'd be a hold of this with my right hand with my stick in the other and trying to get one calf at a time. And as soon as I see which calf's going to come, I holler a big one or a little one. And then he's operating that gate. So we do that, and we will do 200 head in like 30 to 40 minutes. But I mean, we've done it so much, it comes easy to us. Even if they're on just totally grass, we're looking for 2 pounds. Once we start feeding them grain, if they get up to 7 or 8 pounds of consumption of that grain, we're hitting a 2.5. Even right now this fall, the ground's dry and they've performed wonderfully. I think we're getting closer to 3 pounds of gain this fall. The grains that we're feeding is corn. It's all corn, put a soybean meal with it to get the protein content up. It enables us to do a bigger number of cattle. Just like this year, we're able to buy these calves, you know, off in other markets for around 90 cents. Today we sold, the black cattle brings $1.480. The mixed cattle brings $1.03. So we're trying to do a bigger volume than most people think of doing. So that's one of the reasons we do the silage, just to increase the numbers that we're able to turn at this particular farm. As soon as we buy them, like if I'm at the sale barn, or I have order buyers that's at some other sale barns, like we'll be covering maybe 3 or 4 sales each day when we're really trying to get that 3,500 in the spring. So those cattle are all trucked to the local vet clinic where they get all their shots, castration, dehorning, all their immune shots, blackleg, anything that they do that way. I try, even if you buy 300 that day, every calf is at the farm that night. They're not left around in pens or at a stockyards to get sick. Every one of them is out in a 50-acre field. I know a lot of people takes them and puts them in a 2-acre field and confines them, but we're buying them so fast that we'll have at least 2 fields on each one of these big farms that will hold a weaned calf. Totally safe to turn him loose and let him out there and expect him to still be there in the morning when you go out there. So these calves are turned out, especially in the spring when that grass is at their nose 6 inches deep. I want them out in a big fresh field, especially if they've been castrated and all that. I do not like putting them up in a small confinement, lots, mud, and that kind of stuff. We turn them out in the big fields. The veterinarian, yes, he will charge you more than you could do it for, but the next morning, after you've had a big day of buying, me and the boys needs out in these farms looking after the 2,000 cattle that was maybe bought in the prior 2 or 3, 4 weeks. So we need to be spending our time out there instead of in these pens working, giving those 200 calves their shots and getting them ready to go out. So there's a sacrifice that we make. It's a little more expensive, but we think you get a good return for it. We're having to go out into other states. We've got buyers in Tennessee, we've got buyers in Virginia, and the price is cheaper there. I'll just tell you, especially the markets around here, local, are very competitive. So we're having to venture out farther to get these cattle in, especially in the spring when we need the big number of cattle. I advise anybody that's doing it, don't start at it big. Just try a contract or 2, maybe the first year. Don't sell the whole herd on it at once, especially. I advise you to get a broker that is experienced in that field, in feeder cattle, fat cattle. When times are good and you see a great profit made on the cattle that you've got on hand, why not lock it in? Why not grab it, put it in your hand where they can't take it away from you? How many times have we been to that sale barn wanting to cry like a baby? And remembering back 2 or 3 months ago when we could have sold these cattle for 15 cents above what we're taking for them today. Those are the times that makes you think you should have been doing something with risk management, learning how to use it to profit you and your family. We're hoping to clear $100 a head. So our expense, the veterinarian, the reselling, while they're here on the farm, the mineral, the small amount of grain that you have to feed them, or that we do feed them, we're hoping that to hold the expenses to around $100, $110. So when we can get about $200, $225 a head, that's a wonderful time. Like right now, back a few weeks ago, I was buying puts, because you could buy a put for next March and April, $1.04, $1.02, and they would give you like $2 for it. I don't think the market will be down to there. I think we'll be considerably above that. So if it is considerably above that, it'll have me a nest egg already to start the year with, because it looks like we're going to be paying a big premium for these cattle come spring. I think you've got to be one of the larger producers. I think the days of the small producer are limited, and I don't ever see any change. So you've got to keep thinking of expanding. If you want to think about staying on the farm, you've got to think of getting bigger. And it's kind of unfortunate that it's that way, but it is that way. And I think that's the new thing that they're going to have to learn to do, is to even expand bigger than where we are now.